Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Dr. Sleep, number 2 would be Last Christmas, number 3 would be Terminator Dark Fate, number 4 would be Midway, and number 5 would be Playing with Fire. And this is a first in a long while, but I got 0 out of 5 of my predictions right. Not 1, not 2, 0 out of 5 right. Same with all the commenters because we all did not expect what was going to happen. I predicted Midway for number 4. Nope. It got number 1 at the box office this weekend with only $17 million as an opening. This isn't even Roland Emmerich's highest opening for any movie. It's just a $17 million opening. Like, it's a very middle ground kind of opening for him. But it somehow managed to be the number 1 this weekend. I was not expecting this in the slightest. I guess there is more of an angle towards this film because it is Veterans Day weekend, so maybe it's got a lot of celebration because of that. And if you look on my Midway review in some of the comment sections, there are some people very much so defending it, so I think there is at least a bit of a positive word of mouth. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is like in the 90s, and there are some people that are willing to defend it in the comments of my video, even critiquing things that I didn't even say, but they'll still find a way to make it seem like I'm an idiot for not liking this movie that everyone should go see. Worldwide, it only has 21 million to its name, so that's not too good for it, especially considering the budget is $100 million. But the biggest upset about this whole thing is that it managed to outgross Dr. Sleep on its opening weekend here domestically. Dr. Sleep only made $14 million this weekend. Now, worldwide, it managed to get more than Midway. It's sitting at $34 million right now, so that's pretty good. The budget is around $45 to $55 million according to Wikipedia, so I'm just going to do a rough estimate and say it's exactly $50 million. It is the lowest opening weekend for a Stephen King adaptation this year compared to Pet Sematary and It Chapter 2. I expected it not to do as much as It Chapter 2, but I at least expected a little bit more than Pet Sematary. At least it did manage to outsqueak Ouija as Mike Flanagan's highest opening weekend, so there's that for him. But honestly, this is really upsetting, all things considered, because this had the best critical reviews out of the entire weekend. This and Midway had the same audience score, but the critic score was at least pushing it over to be the best reviewed film coming out this weekend compared to Midway, which was getting crapped on by critics. But for some reason, more people decided to go see Midway, despite a lot of people saying that it was a good movie, even if they had some issues with it, even if they weren't saying it was amazing, flawless like I did. There was still at least a positive word of mouth going about on this film, but still, more people went to see Midway. I am so incredibly baffled by this. Now, I'm hoping that the domestic and worldwide combined totals will be able to double its $50 million budget, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to be the big success that everyone wanted. It's unfortunately not getting the kind of grossing that was originally estimated, and the original estimates weren't even really all that high. They were about mid-20 millions, but now it's dipped to the 14 millions. I have no idea what's going on with this. Maybe, I heard some people speculating there wasn't much of a marketing push for it, but I swear I saw ads for Dr. Sleep all the time, but I mean, I don't know. A lot of people said maybe they should have marketed that it was a sequel to The Shining more. I don't know how much more obvious you could have gotten in a lot of these cases. I'm really baffled by this, and I don't really know how else to explain it other than it's Veterans Day weekend, and maybe they could have released Dr. Sleep around Halloween and just left Midway here on Veterans Day weekend, but I don't know, man. This is really baffling to me. Maybe by a slim miracle, it'll be able to have a good staying power, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case, and that's kind of upsetting. Number 3, we have Playing with Fire, only $2 million behind Dr. Sleep, making $12 million. Worldwide, it is only at $15 million, which is Andy Fickman, the director's second lowest opening. It is ahead of his film She's the Man's $10 million opening, so at least there's that. But out of his entire filmography, this is his second lowest opening weekend. So I guess a lot of disappointments here. Roland Emmerich for not having a bigger opening for this film because his budget is $100 million, and he's still going to lose a lot of money. But Dr. Sleep also, because of the things I had mentioned. I didn't even expect Playing with Fire to get this high on the list because I thought for sure number 4, which is Last Christmas, would get higher, but I guess not. It only made $11 million this weekend, and worldwide it was able to manage to squeak in $14 million, so there's that. But domestically, this is Paul Feig's third lowest opening weekend behind Unaccompanied Minors and I Am David. Those two films were more at the start of Paul Feig's career, and they have like Unaccompanied Minors is like a $5 million opening, and I Am David is like 100,000 something, I forgot, but it's in the 100,000s. So at least this is higher than those two, and it still managed to get over 10 million for their opening. But last year when we got A Simple Favor, that was the one that was like, okay, Paul Feig had a big hit with Bridesmaids and Spy and The Heat and even Ghostbusters, which made $40 million on its opening weekend. So I guess it's kind of expected, I guess, that A Simple Favor would get a little bit lower than those. But I thought for sure maybe Last Christmas would get a little bit more, considering Playing with Fire didn't look all that good. And it is getting around that time, although we still have Thanksgiving. It is around the Christmas season almost, but I guess not. I guess there isn't that Christmas magic for it yet. Maybe if they held off a bit, maybe if they didn't open on such a crowded weekend, I guess. Moving on to number 5, we have Terminator Dark Fate dropping really low, only making $10 million this weekend compared to last week's $29 million opening. That adds to a domestic total of $48 million, and domestically, it is $10 million over the original Terminator's domestic run, so that's pretty good, and it's $41 million away from Terminator Genesis, but it's looking like it's not even going to outgross that domestic run. Worldwide, it is sitting at $199 million, which might look good, but if you look at the budget, $185, it needs about $370 million to be considered a success. In fact, I'm willing to bet that it needed about $500 million, because right now it seems like Paramount and Skydance aren't really looking for making more Terminator films because of this film's box office, if you look on the Wikipedia future section. Worldwide, it is $166 million away from outgrossing Terminator Salvation, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be able to do that, which was perceived as the second lowest earning movie as far as the worldwide movies go, aside from the original. I don't even think Terminator Dark Fate is going to outgross that, which is another big disappointment for all these people making these movies. At least we have number 6, which is disappointing. No one involved making it. Joker, making $9 million, adding to a domestic total of $313 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at $984 million. Not only is that $16 million away from joining the $1 billion club, but it is also $17 million away from outgrossing the Dark Knight's overall worldwide run, and it'll be joining the DC Comics $1 billion club with Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, and Aquaman. So hey, we finally have a movie on here that isn't disappointing anyone. Yay, Joker's a big success. Moving on to number 7, we have Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, making $8 million, adding to a domestic total of $97 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at $430 million. Good for them. They doubled their $185 million budget, and if they make $70 million more, they can at least get to $500 million worldwide. So that's pretty good for them. They're $3 million away from getting to $100 million domestically. So once again, pretty good. There's no need to really compare it to the other Disney live-action remakes at this point, because it's kind of outgrossed the ones that it's going to, and I don't think it's going to progress anymore in that chart. So let's move on to number 8, which is Harriet, making $7 million, adding to a domestic total of $23 million. This is pretty good for the director, Casey Lemons. It's their highest grossing movie, and Cynthia Erivo, this movie just outgrossed Bad Times at the O Royale by $6 million. So that's pretty good for both of them. They still need to get to $34 million to double that $17 million budget. Hopefully a worldwide total can come in place soon for them. Number 9, we have Zombieland Double Tap, making $4.3 million, adding to a domestic total of $66 million. Now, domestically, it's $9 million from outgrossing the original film, but worldwide, since it's sitting at $101 million, it only needs $1 million more to outgross the original film. So domestically, it's not going to outgross the original, at least this week, but in the next couple days, it's going to outgross the original worldwide, so that's pretty good for them. They made a sequel that technically has made more money than the first movie. Maybe they'll make Zombieland 3 even sooner because of this, or maybe they'll still do that whole 10 years thing again later on. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one, but this is actually a pretty big success for them. And finally, closing out the video, number 10, it was looking like it was going to be Jojo Rabbit squeaking in a little bit, but unfortunately it was The Addams Family, making $4.1 million, adding to a domestic total of $91 million, $22 million away from the original Addams Family, so good for them. And worldwide, it is sitting at $154 million, which is $37 million away from the original. So good job, Addams Family. You turned out to be a pretty profitable movie that is $6 million away from quadrupling its $40 million budget right now. Maybe they'll make an Addams Family 2. Yay, I guess. I still haven't even seen this movie. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5, and judging by how well I did this week, I hope I can do a little bit better here. Number 1, I'm going with Charlie's Angels. Number 2, Ford versus Ferrari. Number 3, The Good Liar. Number 4, Midway. And number 5, Dr. Sleep. What are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.